There are moments in life when what you see with your eyes is only a fraction of the truth. There are moments when the world seems one way, but the spirit sees deeper, revealing things that most will never notice. I was shown a vision, a message, a truth that shook me to my core, a truth about Charlie Kirk that many will never understand. What I saw was not opinion, it was revelation. It was not gossip, it was insight from a higher source, exposing what lies beneath the surface. You will discover how influence, intention, and hidden motives shape what we believe, how we react, and the energy we allow into our lives. You will see why appearances can be deceiving, why words can be used to manipulate, and why understanding what God reveals changes everything. This is not about criticism, it is about awareness. It is about seeing beyond the mask and understanding the spiritual forces, the choices, and the paths that shape a person's life and impact the world around them. When truth is revealed, it does not just inform, it awakens. It challenges what you thought you knew, it tests the depth of your faith, and it calls you to stand in clarity, discernment, and wisdom. The vision I received was a warning, a lesson, and an awakening all at once, showing how influence can be wielded, how messages can mislead, and how spiritual insight protects those who are willing to see. Spiritual insight is a force that reveals what is hidden from ordinary sight, what cannot be understood through mere observation or worldly reasoning. Many people go through life seeing only the surface of events, believing what is shown to them by appearances, media, or popular opinion, without ever realizing that there is a deeper layer influencing everything around them. The truth that God can show is not dependent on reputation, popularity, or the narrative created by others. It is a direct message to the heart and spirit, piercing through deception, illusion, and false impressions. When spiritual insight comes, it awakens the mind to realities that cannot be ignored. It sharpens perception, and it heightens awareness to subtle forces at work behind actions and words. The problem for many is that they rely on what they hear and see in the world, rather than seeking divine guidance to discern the underlying truths that shape outcomes, intentions, and influence. Those who embrace spiritual insight begin to perceive layers of reality that ordinary observation cannot detect. They begin to understand patterns and motives that remain invisible to most, and they recognize the spiritual dynamics that guide events and the people involved in them. Divine insight does not arrive as a mere thought. It often comes as a strong impression, a deep knowing that cannot be ignored, a message that resonates in the heart and unsettles the mind until it is acknowledged. This is because spiritual truth often challenges the illusions created by human perception. It goes against the narratives shaped by influence, and it calls the soul to see beyond convenience, comfort, or popular belief. When you receive such insight, it feels urgent, compelling, and undeniable, because it aligns with a higher purpose that transcends personal opinion or societal expectations. Many ignore this guidance because it is uncomfortable, it contradicts what they have been taught, or it requires a level of discernment they are not yet willing to embrace. But for those who act on spiritual insight, it becomes a lens through which every word, action, and event is filtered. Suddenly, what was once confusing becomes clear, what was once deceiving becomes transparent, and the reality behind influence, leadership, and intention emerges with unmistakable clarity. Spiritual insight also cultivates discernment, a critical ability that allows the mind to separate truth from deception. When the heart is aligned with divine guidance, the soul begins to detect subtle cues, hidden motives, and the energies that drive people's actions. Influence, charisma, and reputation may draw attention, but spiritual discernment reveals the intentions behind them, exposing patterns of manipulation, distraction, or hidden agendas. This is why those who develop spiritual insight often see what others cannot. They are tuned to a frequency of truth that bypasses appearances, bias, and societal pressure. They are able to sense the unseen forces shaping outcomes, and they become aware of the spiritual currents that guide behavior, communication, and leadership. This discernment is not based on suspicion or negativity. It is based on awareness, clarity, and alignment with divine truth, giving the person the ability to navigate situations wisely, to protect their mind and spirit, and to act with understanding rather than reaction. Receiving spiritual insight also strengthens faith because it shows that there is a higher order and divine oversight in every circumstance. The revelation of hidden truths reminds the soul that human perception is limited, that not everything is as it appears, and that ultimate guidance comes from a source beyond manipulation, media, or public opinion. This awareness encourages the heart to trust, the mind to pause before judgment, and the spirit to act with discernment, knowing that divine clarity is available to those willing to seek it and align with it. Over time, spiritual insight transforms the way a person sees influence, power, and leadership, allowing them to rise above deception, to walk in clarity, and to understand the forces at work in ways that remain hidden to the majority. Influence is a subtle force that shapes perception, intention, and the energy surrounding people in ways that often go unnoticed. Most people believe that influence is simply the ability to speak, to lead, or to gain attention, but true influence runs far deeper. It affects minds, hearts, and even the unseen currents of spiritual energy. When someone is in a position of influence, every word, every gesture, and every decision has the power to sway thought, to guide emotion, and to set a course for behavior. Influence is not always visible, and it is not always conscious. Sometimes it operates in silence, quietly molding perception while leaving no trace on the surface. This is why spiritual awareness is crucial. Without it, influence can shape beliefs and actions without ever being questioned or examined. Influence becomes a force that can be used for good or for manipulation, for guidance or for deception, depending on the motives behind it and the clarity of those observing it. When influence is wielded without transparency, it can mislead entire communities, shape public opinion, and even distort the truth in ways that remain hidden from most people. Many follow charismatic leaders or persuasive figures, not realizing that the messages they are receiving carry subtle intentions beyond what is immediately apparent. Spiritual insight allows a person to perceive these layers, to see what lies beneath the surface, and to understand the energy behind words and actions. It teaches that influence is not neutral. It is a force that has consequences. Every attempt to shape perception, every effort to guide thinking, and every push to alter behavior carries with it a spiritual weight that affects both the one who influences and the one who is influenced. This understanding changes the way a person listens, observes, and evaluates the people around them, because it shifts the focus from appearances to intention and from surface-level charm to underlying purpose. Influence also interacts with intention in a way that is often overlooked. Actions that appear harmless or even beneficial can carry hidden motives, and the energy behind them can produce outcomes that differ from what is publicly stated. Spiritual awareness exposes these hidden dynamics, revealing the truth behind influence and showing how intention guides the effects of power. It allows the mind to discern between genuine leadership and manipulative control, between guidance rooted in integrity and influence driven by ego or hidden agendas. Without this awareness, people are vulnerable to deception, swayed by charisma, popularity, or surface-level arguments. With spiritual insight, the heart and mind can evaluate not only what is being said, but why it is being said, and the spiritual forces that are shaping reception and response become clear. Energy is another layer of influence that often goes unnoticed. Every individual carries an energetic signature, and those in positions of influence emit energy that can affect emotions, perception, and spiritual alignment. Some energies uplift, guide, and strengthen, while others drain, mislead, or destabilize. Spiritual awareness attunes a person to these energetic currents, allowing them to see when influence is positive and when it is potentially harmful. This awareness is not about judgment, but about clarity and discernment. It is about recognizing that influence is more than words. It is an energy that interacts with your soul, your mind, and your perception. By perceiving this, a person is able to protect themselves from being manipulated, misled, or spiritually burdened, and can respond to influence in ways that align with truth and divine guidance. Understanding the depth of influence transforms the way one interacts with the world. It encourages caution, discernment, and spiritual alignment. It teaches that influence cannot be evaluated superficially, and that true insight comes from observing intention, energy, and underlying motives. This awareness strengthens faith, sharpens discernment, and empowers the individual to rise above manipulation, deception, and hidden agendas. Influence, when perceived spiritually, no longer controls perception. Instead, it becomes a field through which wisdom, clarity, and divine insight guide action and response, showing what is real and what is designed to deceive. Words and actions carry layers of meaning that often remain invisible to the untrained eye, and what appears simple on the surface can conceal motives, intentions, and consequences that only spiritual insight can reveal. Many people take what they hear or see at face value, trusting appearances without questioning the energy, purpose, or truth behind them. A person may speak with confidence, conviction, and charisma, but those qualities alone do not reveal the essence of their intention. Behind every word and every action is a spiritual current, a subtle force that either aligns with truth or works to manipulate, distract, or deceive. Understanding this is critical because the world is filled with voices that appear trustworthy, actions that appear righteous, and movements that appear beneficial, yet their underlying purpose may carry hidden agendas. Spiritual discernment teaches a person to listen, observe, and perceive beyond what is immediately visible, to see the alignment or misalignment between intention, action, and truth. Actions are never isolated. They carry consequences and influence that ripple outward, affecting individuals, communities, and even unseen spiritual dynamics. A charismatic leader or public figure may act in ways that inspire followers, yet their actions may also be shaped by motives that are self-serving, ego-driven, or contrary to divine principles. Spiritual insight allows the mind and heart to evaluate actions not solely based on appearance, results, or public approval, but based on intention, alignment, and the unseen effects of those actions. This understanding reveals why some actions, even when publicly praised, can produce harm, confusion, or misalignment. Those with spiritual clarity recognize that influence and leadership must be measured not only by what is done, but by why it is done and how it resonates in the spiritual realm. Every movement, every speech, and every decision carries weight beyond the physical, affecting perception, energy, and the spiritual atmosphere in ways that the untrained eye cannot see. Motives are hidden drivers behind words and actions. People often judge based on results, appearance, or rhetoric, but spiritual insight allows a person to see the engine beneath the vehicle. What guides an individual's choices, what drives their energy, and what directs their influence are far more revealing than what is visible on the surface. Many are misled because they evaluate leaders or influencers only by public perception or social approval. Spiritual discernment teaches that the hidden motives behind words and actions are often more important than the visible outcomes. When a person aligns with divine insight, they can sense inconsistency, detect manipulation, and recognize alignment or misalignment with truth. This ability becomes a shield, protecting the mind and heart from deception and guiding decisions in alignment with spiritual clarity rather than superficial appearances. Every word has energy, and energy affects perception, emotion, and spiritual alignment. Words spoken with hidden intent, whether persuasive, manipulative, or self-serving, carry a subtle force that can influence hearts, minds, and spiritual understanding. Those in positions of influence, leadership, or visibility often emit energy that shapes the reception of their words, directing thought and emotional response without overtly controlling it. Spiritual awareness allows a person to discern this energy, recognizing when words uplift, mislead, or manipulate. This discernment is not born from skepticism or doubt alone, but from alignment with divine insight, allowing a person to see clearly, feel accurately, and respond wisely to communication and influence. The combination of words, actions, and hidden motives determines the true impact of influence. Spiritual insight reveals that nothing exists in isolation. Every statement, every decision, and every gesture carries both visible and invisible consequences. When you understand this, the world begins to look different. The patterns of behavior, the intent behind influence, and the subtle currents of energy become visible to the discerning eye. Spiritual clarity teaches a person to respond to what is real, what aligns with truth, and what resonates with divine principles, instead of being controlled by appearances, rhetoric, or public opinion. This awareness strengthens judgment, protects perception, and equips the individual to navigate the world with understanding, discernment, and unshakable spiritual authority. Divine revelation provides a level of discernment that goes far beyond human reasoning, allowing the spirit to see what is hidden beneath appearances, narratives, and public perception. Many people trust what is visible or what is said by those in authority, but spiritual insight reveals layers of truth that cannot be accessed through logic alone. It allows a person to perceive the motives, the intentions, and the hidden patterns that influence behavior and shape outcomes in ways that the physical eye cannot detect. This insight does not come from opinion, speculation, or judgment. It comes from alignment with a higher source, a clarity that penetrates deception, manipulation, and subtle misdirection. Those who receive such revelation gain the ability to navigate the complexities of influence, communication, and leadership with discernment, understanding, and a heightened sense of spiritual awareness. The unseen dynamics that guide actions, shape perception, and direct energy become visible to those who are willing to listen, observe, and align with divine truth. Spiritual revelation teaches that influence is never neutral. It is a force that interacts with perception, energy, and intention. Every word, action, and decision carries energy that can uplift or mislead, guide or manipulate, empower or deceive. When spiritual insight is active, a person can detect whether influence is aligned with truth or driven by hidden agendas, whether it serves others or serves ego, whether it strengthens faith or undermines clarity. This awareness protects the mind, heart, and spirit from being swayed by superficial charm, persuasive rhetoric, or the power of public approval. Those who are spiritually awake understand that true discernment is not about skepticism or negativity. It is about seeing clearly, perceiving intention, and recognizing the alignment of energy with higher principles. This discernment is a gift that allows a person to operate from truth rather than reaction, to act with wisdom rather than impulse, and to rise above manipulation and misdirection. Understanding hidden truths also strengthens the heart by removing vulnerability to deception. When a person can perceive the motives behind words and actions, they no longer rely on appearances or rhetoric to determine trust, judgment, or alignment. The heart becomes guarded not by fear, but by clarity and understanding. Emotional reactions that previously allowed influence to shape perception are replaced by measured responses, calm authority, and spiritual wisdom. The heart learns to respond from discernment, not instinct, and to make decisions based on alignment with divine principles rather than surface impressions. This strengthens confidence, reduces doubt, and empowers a person to navigate complex situations without being misled, manipulated, or spiritually burdened. Divine revelation transforms the way the heart engages with influence, leadership, and public figures, creating a protective boundary that guides emotional responses with precision. Clarity of thought is another gift of spiritual revelation. The mind becomes sharper, able to distinguish truth from illusion, intention from deception, and energy from surface level appearances. With clarity, a person can evaluate information, messages, and actions through the lens of divine insight, seeing beyond the immediate to the underlying currents that shape outcomes. Decisions are no longer influenced solely by popularity, opinion, or persuasive communication. They are guided by understanding, awareness, and spiritual alignment. Clarity allows the mind to navigate influence without being controlled by it, to recognize manipulation without falling into it, and to perceive truth without being distracted by false appearances. It is a lens through which reality becomes visible, energy becomes tangible, and hidden motives are revealed with unmistakable clarity. Faith works hand in hand with spiritual revelation, anchoring discernment in divine authority. When the spirit trusts in higher guidance, it becomes empowered to see clearly, act decisively, and rise above deception. The combination of revelation, clarity, and faith strengthens judgment, protects perception, and enables a person to navigate the world with unshakable confidence. It allows the individual to act from understanding rather than fear, to respond with wisdom rather than emotion, and to operate in alignment with divine purpose rather than the agendas of others. Spiritual revelation transforms every interaction, every observation, and every decision, equipping the soul with the insight, courage, and discernment necessary to rise above manipulation and walk boldly in truth. Awareness of hidden truths is a gift that equips a person to rise above deception. Misdirection and manipulation, allowing the mind and spirit to operate from clarity, wisdom, and divine alignment. Many people go through life reacting to what they see, what they hear, and what is presented to them, unaware that there is a deeper layer influencing every situation. Spiritual insight illuminates these hidden layers, revealing the intentions, motives, and energies that guide actions and shape perception. It teaches that truth is not always visible, that influence is not always transparent, and that what is presented on the surface may hide agendas that affect outcomes in unseen ways. By perceiving hidden truths, a person gains the ability to navigate life with discernment, making decisions that are rooted in awareness rather than impulse, judgment rather than reaction, and faith rather than assumption. This awareness is not a burden. It is a shield, a compass, and a source of empowerment that protects the soul and strengthens the spirit. Spiritual clarity allows the individual to recognize patterns of manipulation that might otherwise remain unnoticed. Words, gestures, and actions can carry subtleties designed to influence perception or behavior, and without awareness, people often respond to these cues without understanding the underlying motive. Divine insight teaches a person to pause, observe, and perceive the hidden forces at play, identifying when influence is genuine and when it carries intentions that are self-serving or misleading. This discernment equips the mind to see beyond appearances, to evaluate energy and intention, and to understand the consequences of actions in both the physical and spiritual realms. Those who develop this awareness begin to notice inconsistencies, hidden pressures, and subtle attempts to manipulate thought, choice, or emotion. And they learn to respond from a position of authority and understanding rather than being controlled by circumstance or persuasion. Discernment rooted in spiritual awareness also protects the heart. Emotional vulnerability is often the pathway through which deception enters, influencing feelings, reactions, and relationships. When the heart is aligned with divine insight, it becomes less susceptible to manipulation, less swayed by superficial charm, and more capable of perceiving truth in the midst of confusion. This protection does not isolate the person from the world. Rather, it allows the heart to engage with clarity, respond with wisdom, and navigate interactions without being overwhelmed by hidden agendas or subtle coercion. Awareness of hidden truths creates a sense of inner peace and confidence, knowing that decisions, choices, and actions are being guided by insight rather than deception. The heart no longer reacts impulsively to appearances. It acts in alignment with spiritual guidance and divine truth. Faith enhances this awareness, anchoring discernment in divine authority and ensuring that clarity is not dependent on human perception alone. Spiritual understanding, when combined with faith, allows the individual to see the world through the lens of purpose, meaning, and higher guidance. It teaches that influence, leadership, and public perception are often shaped by agendas that do not align with truth, and that discernment is required to navigate these forces effectively. Faith strengthens the mind, heart, and spirit, giving courage to confront realities that are uncomfortable, revealing truths that are inconvenient, and allowing the soul to operate from authority rather than confusion. This alignment ensures that the individual is not merely aware of hidden truths, but empowered to act in accordance with them, rising above manipulation and navigating life with wisdom, confidence, and spiritual authority. Finally, awareness of hidden truths transforms action. A person who perceives what is concealed operates from understanding rather than impulse, from insight rather than assumption, and from wisdom rather than reaction. Decisions are informed, choices are guided, and responses are measured. The spiritual eye discerns alignment from misalignment, motive from intent, and influence from truth, giving the individual the ability to navigate complex situations with clarity and confidence. Awareness becomes a force that protects, empowers, and guides, ensuring that the soul remains anchored, the mind remains sharp, and the heart remains steady. This insight enables a person to rise above deception, recognize hidden dynamics, and act in alignment with divine truth, moving through life with spiritual authority, discernment, and unshakable confidence. Spiritual clarity empowers a person to rise above deception, align with truth, and navigate life with discernment, confidence, and faith. Many people live their lives responding to what is visible, reacting to opinions, and trusting narratives shaped by others without realizing that deeper truths are always at work. These truths are revealed through spiritual awareness, divine insight, and the guidance that comes when the heart and mind are aligned with a higher purpose. When a person attains this awareness, they see beyond appearances, beyond public perception, and beyond the superficial layers of influence that often obscure the reality of intention and motive. Spiritual clarity is not simply knowledge, it is understanding, perception, and the ability to evaluate people, actions, and circumstances through the lens of divine truth. It allows the mind to discern manipulation from guidance, illusion from reality, and ego-driven influence from purposeful leadership, creating a level of awareness that protects and empowers at every step. Rising above deception requires the ability to perceive intention, energy, and alignment. Words alone are not enough to reveal truth because they can be used to manipulate, mislead, or distract. Actions alone are not enough because they can conceal motives, hidden agendas, or subtle influence. Spiritual clarity allows the individual to see the convergence of words, actions, and intent, to recognize patterns, and to understand the consequences that are often invisible to the casual observer. This discernment teaches the mind to pause, the heart to reflect, and the spirit to align with higher guidance before responding to influence or making decisions. It is a form of awareness that strengthens every aspect of life, creating the ability to act with wisdom rather than reaction, insight rather than assumption, and faith rather than fear. When a person walks in spiritual clarity, they are no longer easily swayed by appearances, impressed by rhetoric, or influenced by superficial charm, because they see the deeper reality that guides every situation. The power of clarity also strengthens the heart. Emotional discernment protects from manipulation, jealousy, fear, and subtle attempts to destabilize the spirit. When the heart is aligned with truth, it remains steady in the presence of influence, unshaken by popularity, and resilient in the face of hidden motives. Emotional clarity enables a person to respond with understanding rather than impulse, to engage with wisdom rather than reaction, and to act from faith rather than doubt. It allows for calm observation, strategic response, and confidence that comes from knowing the spiritual truth behind every interaction, every influence, and every action. By maintaining this alignment, the heart becomes a fortress that protects the spirit, guides decisions, and preserves integrity even when the world is filled with deception, manipulation, and hidden agendas. Faith amplifies the effect of spiritual clarity, anchoring discernment in divine authority. It allows the individual to operate with confidence, knowing that insight is guided, protected, and inspired by a higher source. The combination of faith and clarity equips a person to act decisively, to navigate influence wisely, and to rise above agendas that do not align with truth. It gives courage to confront realities that are hidden, wisdom to understand motives that are subtle, and strength to resist pressures that are deceptive. With faith, spiritual clarity is not merely awareness. It becomes a guiding force, a shield against manipulation, and a compass for righteous action. It empowers the mind, steadies the heart, and strengthens the spirit to navigate complex situations without being controlled or misled. Spiritual clarity ultimately empowers action. A person aligned with truth perceives the dynamics of influence, the motives behind words, and the energy behind actions, enabling them to respond wisely and confidently. They act from understanding, not reaction, from insight, not assumption, from discernment, not emotion. Spiritual clarity transforms perception, strengthens judgment, and protects the soul from being swayed by superficial appearances or hidden agendas. It allows the individual to rise above deception, make decisions rooted in divine insight, and navigate the complexities of influence and leadership with wisdom, courage, and unshakable faith. Every interaction, every observation, and every decision becomes guided by awareness, aligned with truth, and empowered by the clarity of spiritual discernment.